What is going on, everybody? My name's Dakota and welcome back to Dakota's Cologne. And today we're going to be looking at and reviewing another new to me fragrance that is going to be from the house of Sphinx. And this is going to be the Sphinx Signature. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so this will be the second Sphinx fragrance I've done on the channel. I did the other one, the Tabac Citron Vanille. Oddly enough, I got this one the exact same way I got that one. It's actually right there. I won this one in a raffle. A lot of the fragrance groups I'm on online do waffles, and this one won it the same way. It was like $8 or $9, I can't remember. There was like 80 mils left in this bottle, and I figured, yeah, man, what the hell. And this one is the Sphinx Signature. As a whole, the presentation on this is similar. I like the cap on the other one better. But yeah, other than that, this pretty much is the exact same. It says scent with history. So what I'll do is I'll get into the atomizer. Now, I will say that the atomizer on this bottle works significantly better than that one. For some reason, I think that one might have a hole in the pickup tube or something. It'll do 5 or 6 sprays and it'll just spit one out. This one, go ahead and kind of show that off. This one has a much better, cleaner burst. So the atomizer on this one is a lot better. The other one just kind of spits it. But with that out of the way, when you first spray this, this is a beautifully blended citrus, spicy type of fragrance. Some of the notes that I immediately pick up on this is it does have tobacco in it. Of course, you know, tobacco, what can you do? But some of the other things that you notice as soon as you spray this is this has a couple fruity notes in it. Now, it doesn't break down specifically what those are, but there is a citrus to this. There's lemon in this, there's lavender in this, there's also incense and cumin, and that's just a few of them. But that's kind of, when you first spray it, you get some of the spiciness from the cumin, you get a little bit of that smokiness hint to it, you get a small tiny whiff of tobacco in here. But the way it's blended, there's a lot going on in this fragrance. It doesn't feel like there's a lot going on in this fragrance. But now what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into the note breakdown. I'll be back in a second. Alrighty, as we get into this note breakdown, this one does have a little more length of a note breakdown, so I'm just gonna kind of go through these really quickly. The top notes on this one are gonna be cinnamon, mandarin orange, lemon, and lavender. The middle notes are, again, our fruity notes, cumin, incense, and red cedar, with the base notes drawing all the way down to an ISO-E super, a vanilla, benzoin, tobacco, cedar, leather, cypress, and patchouli. And what's wild is on the dry down, you get a, even though it's got, you know, tobacco, benzoin, cedar, and leather, between the cypress and the patchouli, you get a small hint of green, but it's mostly a dominant wave of like a citrus, spicy, lightly sweet hint of tobacco. Like, this just has a beautifully wild blend that somehow works very well for itself. But that's gonna wrap up the note breakdown. Let me get y'all flipped back around and we'll get back into it. Alrighty, and we are back. I didn't really give this one that much time because this was my scent of the day that I've been wearing all day. I did give it a little bit of a refresh right before I recorded this video. That way some of the top notes and some of the initial burst stuff kind of come back to me a little bit. I've worn this one about 3 or 4 times since I've got it and added it to the collection. One of the main things I can say about this one is that when this one truly dries all the way down, it has a very rich, sweet smokiness to it. And there is a little bit of tobacco. The tobacco is more tame in this one compared to the Tabac Citron. The main things you'll get out of this one is this one's a little bit fruitier, it's a little bit sweeter, and it's just a little bit woodier. So you almost get like a smoked cedar whenever this dries all the way down. It's like a fruity smoked cedar kind of vibe to it, which isn't bad at all. I really like this. For how I got this, doing a raffle for like $8. Obviously, in my case, it was completely worth it. Me being saying that, we're gonna go ahead and get into the price and availability of this. Unfortunately, not much has changed between me recording this one and me recording my original Sphinx that I got a while back. No real discounters or even retailers has them. They're pretty much still exclusive to the Sphinx website. So on the Sphinx website, you can pick these up for about 110, and this is the 100 ml bottle. It's very square. I mean, I like it. I think it's pretty simple. It's pretty clean. The one thing I will say that I did like a little bit better on the other one is I like how that one, just show you, So these are these two side by side. I like how this one kind of has that plate, and I like this cap a little bit better. But yeah, that plate with the writing and everything, to me, just gives it kind of a more sharper, clean look. I like this one because it's just kind of like laser etched in there as well. I like them both. I just feel like for a fragrance that you're trying to get out there, maybe that one does just a little bit more on the appealing side of looks, if that's something that matters to you. How it smells is the more important thing, but sometimes stuff like that matters too. Speaking of how it smells, this is a beautifully blended fragrance. There's a lot of notes packed into here, and I'll say about this one is the same thing I said about the other one. Whenever you have so many notes compacted into one fragrance, it's really hard to make them smell beautifully blended because there's so much going on. A lot of times it has the potential to smell like a dumpster fire. And this one, surprisingly, does a very good job. Now, the only drawback I will say to this fragrance is this one looks, the bottle looks eerily similar to Box Citron Vanille. The reason that probably does is the note breakdowns are similar. And I'm not gonna lie, these scent profiles are very similar. I don't know that having both of these is kind of warranted. The reason I'm gonna keep both is I won both of these in a raffle. If you could only buy one, don't worry about buying both. Just buy the one, because they smell similar enough to where it's kind of hard pressed to tell them a difference. Like, to me, and it's gonna sound dumb because I know I've kind of bashed on the elixir train just a smidge. To me, I would call this Sphinx Signature, and I would call this Sphinx Signature Elixir or something like that, because that's how similar they smell. Unfortunately, this just smells like a slightly more dialed up version. All right, so I'm gonna segue into the performance on this one. So the performance on this one is pretty decent, actually. Longevity wise, with a 2 to 3 spray refresh, gets you somewhere in that 7 to 9 hour range. At that point, that's pretty well an all day fragrance, so no complaints there. The sillage on this is about a solid 2 to 3 foot sillage. This is kind of a robust. It does like to fall away from itself. This isn't a straight parfum concentration, just like a lot of theirs are. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say all of theirs are either eau de parfums or extraits. It's either one or the other. Me personally, I don't really know the difference between like a regular eau de parfum or an extrait. I would assume an extrait is somehow maybe a little more beefy than your standard EDP, but the way they did it on this one, it works. The projection on this one is about 1 to 2 feet. This one actually likes to push forward as well as fall away from you. Profile and the nature of this, some of that citrus that's on the top, mixed in with some of that incense and red cedar when you go all the way down, a little more citrusy, sweet, smoky, oddly enough. Like, this one's not so sweet like some of the other ones. Like the benzoin and the vanilla, you can tell that they're both there, but they're not abundantly sweet. Like this one, to me, the cypress maybe gives it a little bit more of a freshness at the bottom. This has kind of a very green twist to it, but it's done in such a way that you don't really notice it. And I know the way I'm describing this may not be the best way to describe this, but this has such a lengthy note breakdown, and this has such a this has such a wild blend done to it that if you got the O sniffer here trained up, you could probably pick out most of the notes that's in this independently. But if you just smell it as a whole, it's a beautiful blend to where it's a good mix. So this fragrance is kind of loud. This fragrance falls as a winter fragrance for me. Now, this doesn't really have like that warmth invitingness that your standard like winter fall type of fragrance would have. This one is a little more citrus dominant. This, when on the opening and even on the dry down, you can still pick up a lot of that citrusness, but you still get some of that instant smokiness too. Like I said, again, the blend of it is so good, but it never really develops like that warm, rich, inviting type. This one stays more of like a bold kind of in your face, and that kind of gives this one a little bit of attitude. I don't know if Sphinx is an indie or a niche. I don't know if they do everything in-house or if it's separated. But I will say that this one is going to have a lot of niche qualities. Not a lot of people's going to like this, unfortunately. You've kind of got to have a nose for this one. With that being said, if I had to give this one a rating, I would give this one an 8.5 for my nose. I like the way they blended this. I'm going to knock them 1 full point for the performance. Just the performance on this, it is all day performance. So that part's good. The part that kind of sucks is normally once you eclipse that 9 hour mark, and it turns into a skin scent, even the skin scent kind of dies off. This isn't one that really lingers on your skin for that long. It's after about 12, 13 hours, you know, I can be laying in bed, and if I got my arm twisted up in a pretzel or something, I'll still be able to catch a lot of my fragrances as a skin scent. This one don't really do that. Once you kind of really get off in that, it just truly disappears. Now on clothes, it'll stay for a while, because where I spray, I tend to spray my collars. I'll spray back here, and when I'll get a little more hair, and I'll just overspray always gets a little bit in my collar. So on the clothes, it tends to last forever, and it could just be my skin. I don't know. Some people could wear this and get all day. Who knows? So I'm gonna knock at 1 point for that, and then unfortunately the 0.5 I'm gonna knock at. The reason it's gonna be an 8.5 is this. To me, it smells a little bit too much like Tabac Citron Vanille. The note breakdown is even extremely similar. And unfortunately, if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Tabac Citron Vanille, only because the tobacco note is a little bit stronger in that, and that one is a little bit warmer. It is a little bit richer. This one has all that, but with that being said, that one is maybe just a little bit more refined. It's just a little bit smoother. It's just a little bit richer. So I'd probably have to go with that one. But yeah, so for that reason, I'm gonna have to give this one an 8.5. But like I said, Sphinx did a really good job on this. I mean, I like it. There's not a whole lot I'm gonna complain about on this. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get this one wrapped up, get in on this bottle one more time. And as always, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for subscribing, for all the feedback. The more I comment on the videos, the more people get involved, the more I truly like this. So thank you everyone that's been getting involved so far. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.